watching Talk of the Town, and you're in luck because our friend from the Hilton Head Symphony Orchestra has stopped by. We've got AJordan here, President and CEO. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on. Boy, thanks for being here. Nice to see you.
Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here in the new year.
In the new year. Happy New Year, by
Happy
the
New
way.
Year to you, 2022.
It's a treat to get to interview you. I've seen you on TV, so Here we are. But, hey, we got some things to talk about. This is a stellar year for you. You're celebrating a huge milestone. Let's talk about 40 years.
It is. We are 40 years old, which in a lot of parts of the country, that's no big deal. But, I mean, Hilton Head Island isn't much older than 40 years old. In fact, my understanding is that the bridge, the current bridge on the island was built 40 years ago. So, I mean, the symphony has really become part of the cultural fabric of this community, and that's a really exciting thing to celebrate.
It sure is, and what a year, to celebrate, because you're live, you're in person. We're going to talk a little bit about the concerts that we're going to expect.
Yeah.
I know people are happy to hear that, though, being back in
They
that
are.
theater.
We are back, and people are very excited about it. We're seeing people come back, which is, I mean, that was a big question. If we do it, will they come back? Will they feel comfortable? We do have some patrons that, for one reason or another, actually, we have Canadian patrons who have not yet come back from their other homes.
Sure.
So lots of issues that way, but our musicians are excited to be making music together.
Yeah.
The audience is excited about experiencing live concerts. We did virtual performances all of last season, and they filled a void. But there's nothing like having a live experience where the musicians feel the audience's presence, and of course the audience feels the musician's presence.
Absolutely, and there's a physical vibration that takes place. It's a physical thing, and boy, music is so important for the psyche, and especially people who utilize that as an outlet. To be able to have that back is really precious.
It is.
You're celebrating another milestone actually in the same year. It's a huge
Yep.
year because 10 years for John Morris Russell as the music director. And let's talk a little bit about his career.
Sure. Well, the Symphony and Hilton Head has been very fortunate to have John here. He's a superstar. He's the conductor of the Cincinnati Pops, the world-renowned Cincinnati Pops Orchestra. He does pops for the Buffalo Philharmonic. He's got a guest conducting career. But he was drawn to Hilton Head because early in his career, he had an affiliation with the Savannah Orchestra. And so he got to know the Lowcountry. It's where he met his wife. Of course, then he moved around a little bit and ended up landing in Cincinnati. And my predecessor and others, when there was a vacancy, reached out to John. They did have a conductor search, but they knew pretty much early on that he was the guy.
Yeah.
And he's been the guy, and he's really elevated the level of the orchestra. I think he's rejuvenated the programming. He does the classics during the orchestra series, but he's also focused on introducing unfamiliar works by composers maybe who have been overlooked in the past, including composers of color, and also focusing on the culture that's unique to here, specifically the Gullah Geechee culture. So there's a focus on that too. And since we've opened up Soundwaves in Coligny a few years ago, we've been able to kind of expand that programming, not just orchestral stuff, but jazz and chamber, and it runs the gamut.
Wow, and you have to experience it. It's such a treat to have somebody of that caliber and wait. You knew who it was. You went and got him, and here he is. Back in the Lowcountry. I love it. We do got to spend some time before we head out, and boy, this goes quick. But let's talk a little bit about what we've had quite the year. You're in your busy time, and it's not slowing down. Tell us about
Not
what's
at all.
happening.
I mean, when you get to January, it's really a sprint through April. We have 2 pairs of orchestra series concerts in January, 2 pairs of them in February. We have the International Piano Competition the first half of March. At the end of March, another orchestra series concert that features a world premiere by the country's most performed living composer now, Jessie Montgomery. And then in April, we have our Symphony Under the Stars returning to Honeyhorn under the big tent, and we close out the season at the end of April with a big dance party.
Wow. And you stopped in the middle of all that to come do an interview, and I am so delighted that you did.
I would love to. I love coming here, and I got away because the orchestra is actually rehearsing at Soundways right now, so I could come to a quiet space for a little while, and then I get to go back.
I love it. Well, make sure you head to the website, check out everything that is left to come, because there is so much. AJordan, Hilton Head Symphony Orchestra, thanks for being here.
Thanks so much. It's a pleasure.
I'm Jessa Jeremiah. We'll be back with more Talk of the Town.